5, 4, 3.
I'm Dr. Cott, Director of MECA. We're here going to discuss some backyard astronomy using the smart telescopes. We started with the March 21st mini this year marathon. So what I wanted to show you is this book number 1 is a workbook published by Galactic Hunters. Galactic Hunters is a young couple that have been publishing and doing astronomy for a few years. They published this book, which is very good on how to do a Messier marathon, and it's got a fair number of pictures and information in there. So, interesting enough, that young couple had just moved to France. They were in the United States, now we lost them to France. So, we have with us today a young lady here that's just starting on this group. What we're doing is getting ready for another mini Messier marathon on September 21st, the next equinox, the autumnal equinox. That's the best time of the year to see 110 of these objects. You won't see as many of them in the fall as you do the spring equinox. So anyway, what we're going to do is go over and try to make it simple for the beginners and the young ones in astronomy. What we're going to start with is what we call the circumpolar constellations. We've been teaching that for a while, and up to now we've been teaching it as the royalty of the sky. The royalty of the sky is the king of the sky and the queen of the sky. And that's Cephus and Cassiopeia. You've got to get in your head. And then their prince's daughter, this is Andromeda. And then her savior, the one that saved her, is also included there, but not circumpolar, so we won't go over a lot of them. But the circumpolar ones, basically they're circular and they go around Polaris, the North Star. So the first thing you have to find wherever you're at in my backyard here is where is north. Where is the North Star at night? Okay, so that's extremely important. And so on. So basically, what we in MECA publish is a sky tour every month. We published this since 2015, and this gives you the constellations to study for that month. There are 88 constellations, and they repeat every year over and over their journey around this universe and this cosmos. So, after a year, you will have learned all 88 of them. There's 88 keys on the piano, there's 88 constellations, so try to remember that if you can. And what we do there is a book published by Columbia University of what we call the collimation. Collimation is when it's called the best seeing or the best viewing time for a constellation. And that's when it's straight up 90 degrees above your head. So when you look straight up, that is called the zenith. Another word you gotta learn for the zenith. And that's the best time to find them. So basically in April, there's one left over from the mini there's a whirlpool. I always get mixed up between nebulas and galaxies, so that's a galaxy. The only nebula that we're going to be talking about around the North Star is the Owl. So basically, we also include now, because of low vision, and I'm old now, and therefore losing my vision, people who are old so have what we call low vision, and then we go to blindness. So in that world, they use mostly what we call tactile learning, which the braille is all tactile. So you use your fingertips for the learning. So now with 3D printing, we can 3D print a lot of tactile devices for astronomy. This is a new one coming from the Bamboo printer and the Bamboo software, okay? And this is the Big Dipper. So if you look in the book here, the Big Dipper, Ursa Major, was last month. So there's only one left over of those what we call deep sky objects. So there's three kinds of astronomy that this young lady has to learn. First of all, what we call naked eye. She's got to learn the sky. There's a lot to learn. It'll take almost a lifetime to just learn naked eye astronomy. But 400 years ago, thanks to Galileo, he came up with a telescope. So now we have not only telescopes, but we're going to teach her how to use a smart telescope. Unbelievable. This little thing can do what these big, massive, powerful telescopes have done, and you can buy them for Christmas for your child for maybe $300, $400, $500. So there's two of them on the market and two new ones coming out. So basically, the first thing you have to learn is what is that. Okay? So when we say Ursa Major, it's the Big Bear. So it's the great big constellation. And it's just like my backyard here. It's the land that's owned by that constellation, the Big Bear, in the sky. And they might have a fence around it. There is no fence, but anyway, you might have, just like they do here. Got a backyard fence, a side yard fence, and so on. So it's pretty hard because these are made by mathematicians and pretty powered people. Therefore, in a lot of the studies, what they come up with is what we call asterisms. So there's another word. A-S-T-E-R-I-S-M, asterisms. They're easier to identify. So it's a grouping of stars that's easy for you to find. And then we'll give them names. The name that we're talking about is the Big Dipper. Then we have the Little Dipper. So right now we're talking about the Big Dipper, and that's what's here on here, the Big Dipper. Okay? So they can feel it. It feels just like the bucket. Okay? And the nice thing about the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper is they go around in 24 hours like this. They're there all year round. Whereas some of the other things you can only see more or less during the winter or during the summer. They're gone for 3 months, maybe 6 months. But these, to start with, you can find anytime, any night, such as tonight in my backyard here. I'll be doing it. So I'll be looking for it. And this here tells you which one will I be looking for tonight. Look in the book, the front page. Look at the date. What's the date? Okay. We're near the 1st of April. April Fool's Day. It was on a Tuesday. It's now Sunday. So we're now in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it doesn't matter exactly the time, but basically the one that we're looking for now is the leftover in these things in the sky that you look at with the telescope. They're called DSOs, deep sky objects. Most of them you'll never see with your eye, or you won't see them the way I guess God intended you to see them. They're beautiful paintings in the sky, okay? Deep sky objects. And then you have the planets. That's kind of in between, and they all go at different speeds. So again, you have to learn something about the speed of them when you set your telescopes too. Planets go at a different speed than the deep sky objects. So the old telescopes, you had to set it. The new one does it all for you. So this, as I said, is a Big Dipper. She's got one. She's going to take it home, and she's going to keep her finger till she learns how to draw that. So in the old days, you had to draw. Then came photography, then come video, and now comes 3D printing. So this is also, get most of these for 3D printing astronomy on Thingiverse. Somebody else has done all this for you. Okay? So basically what he's figured out here is, when you look at it this way, it's two-dimensional. But when you go up in a rocket or going to the moon, you're no longer two-dimensional. The minute you move about 1 foot above the ground, you're into what we call celestial navigation, no longer land navigation. So now, if you're looking at an eclipse, it looks like this. But when you tip it this way, it's entirely different. So there are some deep sky objects that will look like an ellipsoid, and there are some that will look like this. So what this guy has done is taking, how many stars here? Okay, there are 7 stars. In the Big Dipper, there are 7 stars in the Little Dipper. So in the real sky, they are like this here. And in the PowerPoint presentation that we have that goes along with this, you'll find that we measure from here to there in terms of light years, how many light years it takes for it to get here. So the light that sometimes you're looking at for the Christmas star, for example, actually was generated before Christ was born, over 3,000 years ago. So they're light years. So this here is a light year from the Earth. So what he's done is very cleverly made a little thing to find it, and you can see which ones. What we'll have to do is find a way to get names on these or numbers, and which one is the furthest away, which one is the closest. Obviously the shortest one is the shortest in terms of light years. The longest one means it's a lot further away. So that's what this is for. This is very delicate and these break easy. So, but they only take a few minutes to print, so it's not a problem. And it doesn't cost anything hardly to print. So that leads you into that. What the book is for is to go through these myths here. So let's say find 97. We've already gone through previously the Big Dipper, the deep sky objects around the Big Dipper. So starting at the handle up here, the bucket up here, there is Brody's, then Cigar. Brody's galaxy, Cigar galaxy. And it actually looks like a long, thin thing. So it's probably a spiral galaxy turned on its side. Then as you go around, which our PowerPoint will actually show you this, as you go around, down here we have the owl. Owl. Looks like an owl because it's got 2 eyes. Nebula. A nebula is a cloud of gas in the sky. And it's probably going to be whatever we went over last week on colors, RGB. Okay? It's probably going to be red, blue, and green. Okay? So you look at this beautiful painting in the sky, and they've named it after an owl because you've got 2 holes that look like eyes. So we actually have printed those, and then what we do is print a map, put it on the floor, and we have the young ones in September that we're going to put it in the right place. So we have to know where they're at, because when you're looking at it, you have to know what you want to find, where it's at with the old telescopes, and how to tell a new telescope what it is. So this here is number 97, Owl Nebula. And you go down and click, and then the telescope will do everything for you. And then over here you have 2 more. You have the pinwheel. Many people probably haven't seen a pinwheel today, but when I was young, pinwheel you put on a stick, put a nail in it, put some propellers on it, goes around. The wind makes it go around. They call pinwheel. Mexican culture, they used to put fireworks on it. And it'd go around and the fireworks would come out. Okay, so it's called pinwheel. This one down here is called a whirlpool. So those, we try to teach them 7 stars, 7 deep sky objects. Okay? So basically, then what they have to do is learn how to find them. And as I said, now the next thing that you have to do is learn how to use the telescope. So we've got the telescopes out here. What we're going to be working with today is the Dwarf. It's made by Chinese students, which are not a lot older than this young lady here. They are university age, so they are older, but it's not made by high-power engineers. And it's called the Dwarf. And there's a new Dwarf coming out in May. So we've got 5 of these for Mecca. So basically, we waited until Chinese came out with this. The other ones made, generally speaking, in Europe are around $3,000. And they are a tad bit better, but not a lot better for $3,000. So we can buy several of these for the same amount of money. So open that up. Comes just like this here when you buy it. Nice little purse. And take out the telescope. And tripod. Okay, and then put that on the ground. And go in here and take out that. Now these things here are 3D printed. You can see the Mecca logo on there. So take it on. Now the nice thing about this telescope, the next one that we'll go over is the Sea Star. And it's got a new one coming out in May too. But this one is made under totally different principles. So each one has their benefits, depending on what you like, what you want, and so on. This is a telescope part here. And you can see you can turn it. There's the telescope. Turn it. Face the camera. So the nice thing about this is you can turn this and you can turn this. On the Sea Star you cannot do that. This one is landscape versus portrait. The Sea Star is portrait. So if you've got a long galaxy that goes like this, portrait, you might cut off the top and bottom. Now software-wise, they're working on that, but it still is not as good as it could be. So portrait is here, why they're making it that way, just to be different, and our younger generation happens to like that on their phones. So what they've done here is very clever. They put 2 telescopes in here. A wide-angle telescope on one side and the powerful telescope on the other side. So there's 2 of them. 1, 2. Therefore, you got to worry about 2 telescopes. This is a lens that fits on top, and it's magnetic. Put it on. Okay. So now, We got these actually for the solar eclipse. We were getting ready for solar eclipse with people all over Central Texas doing this and doing it electronically. The other nice thing about electronic assisted astronomy is I can put this on the internet and she can watch it at her house. Or my grandson can watch it up in Plano, or he can put his on. We can put all 5 of them on the internet at the same time, using Zoom, for example, on YouTube to some extent. So, but what they've done is very clever too. Chinese tend to use a lot of magnets, electromagnetic, so in their chargers and so on. So that's the magnet. Now on there, on hers, you'll see a hole here. These, we gotta get this good now, are a certain size. There's only 2 sizes in telescopes and astronomy that we consumer. One is a 2-inch, and this is a smaller one, 1 1/4 inch. Okay, so you'll need filters. So last week we talked about RGB. Okay, red, green, blue, the wavelengths and so on. So August today, we're out here in the hot sun. Okay, this is early spring, but it's already warm here in Texas. So if we're going to look at the sun will damage your eyes if you get it focused into your eyeball with binoculars or a telescope. You'll go blind. It will damage the cameras, so you do not look at the sun. The moon is different. So this is where filters come in, and this is where you have to learn something about wavelengths and colors. The color of white light versus the color, no color of black, nighttime, and so on. So, unscrew that. Just should unscrew. So this comes with it for free, okay? And then you actually get one of these for free, and you get 2 for the sun, because for the sun you have to have one on both sides. Okay? If you're not looking at the sun, you probably don't need one on the wide angle, okay, depending on what you want to do. This one is a UHF. Ultra high contrast. Okay. This is where you have to learn something about the wavelength. This gets rid of all the light you don't want, those street lights, the light over here at the church, all the lights in the city, okay? And it only lets through the light that you want from the stars or the moon. So you have to know what it is you want, what wavelengths and so on. So this filter comes with it for that. Now, instead of doing a filter, they have learned electronics. It's called optic electronics. They have learned to do this because the wavelength is in there electronically. Now they build them into the scopes where you push a button, and that button will say light pollution. You put it and it gets rid of all this light pollution. So I can use my backyard. I don't have to travel down to Big Bend, Texas, the darkest skies in the state of Texas, and so on. It's never quite as good, but it's good. It's doing things now that we could never do before. Okay? So now you have to have a tablet. Okay. So we'll go over a lot of this later on in the house. But anyway, you have to connect this guy to, so now you're going to use both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but that's all built into the software, so you don't have to do a whole lot of anything. You find their app, it's called Dwarf 2, Dwarf Lab 2. So first of all, you have to find a button to turn it on. Hopefully they'll charge it. And then it will say Dragon. That's what they're made. Hold it down. Buttons today, you have to learn the button to turn on and off. They're not flick on, flick off. Sometimes you have to give it 3 short holds, 3 short ones and hold the long one, or give it 2. You just have to learn it for the equipment that you're going to be given. Okay. Now it's going to go and find. Did it come up? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so go up and find your pages. You gotta wait until it locks in to all the icons. And then find the icon that says Dwarf. Okay, got it? I got to put these glasses on to see it, and then I got to take them off, so I'll just review if you follow through. You got it. Okay, now, basically you got Dwarf. Did you hit the Dwarf icon?
It's not showing it up.
Yeah, I got to see it. Let me see what come up. Okay, sometimes these tablets are a little quirky. That's why we tend to do this inside. It's got 90% charge. And I don't want to go through this here. I just want to see it. Okay. That's your blank screen. And as soon as it's locked in, you go up. And then this one has a number, password, passkey. Lost it. We're not going to accomplish this here. Oh. Anyway, at this point, I'd put in the passkey and find Dwarf, and then turn this on and hit connect, and it connects. So that's the step. From there on, you just follow the menu. If you look on YouTube, you'll find lots of YouTube videos on this, how to do it, and you'll find here. And it will say, usually they will tell you stargazing. You want to look at stars, you want to look at the moon. Planetary is totally different. So we're doing a lot with the moon based on NASA's Armitage program. And then deep sky, and the deep sky, only this guy here will do, not deep sky, naked eye. Based on the wide angle, you can actually get the Milky Way. The sea star you can't, because there is no wide angle. So this one has a wide angle, so you can get the Milky Way if you want to see a big part of the sky. The other one, you only get a small part of the sky, but it's very, very good. So when you switch from here to here, you actually switch it to go from wide angle to the... Okay, we're locked in there. So.